have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Kind of. Yes, sir. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling. I am Jeff, and with me today is the Scholar Brian. Brian, what's up?
Hello.
I was expecting far more than that.
Yes, it's been an awkward week, so I don't really have anything cool and funny to say, so I'll leave it at that.
The sad fact is I can't tell if you're talking about your personal life or wrestling this week.
Yeah, I'd go both.
They were both very valid. But on the other hand, if you're one of the very observant fans of our show, you were probably wondering, wait a minute, this is not Tarek's lovely melodious voice. What is going on? Well, that's because our good friend Tarek has just, he and his wife have just given birth to their first child.
He's got a baby!
He's got a baby now. So yes, he is going to be on indefinite hiatus going forward. Could be back next week, could be back in a month, could be back in a year, could be back in next decade, because, the show will probably be around by that long. Who knows? Either way, Tarek and your lovely wife, we wish you and your new daughter the very best.
Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed. But in the meantime, the show must go on. Hey, we all know where we're going here. We don't want to get cliched, so let's get right into it with the same way we always open up this show, with a little backstage news.
Backstage news.
No, that was not a clip. Now, unfortunately, let's just get this one right out of the way. The big news coming out of this week, the tragic passing of Sean O'Haire from apparently a suicide, of all things.
Yes, the news came out yesterday that he had attempted to go to rehab, the WWE sponsored rehab, 3 or 4 times, and it just didn't work for him, and I'm guessing that has something to do with why he felt he needed to do what he did.
Yeah, it's this kind of thing, again, with the recent passing of Robin Williams, it's got this kind of conversation on the tip of everyone's tongue, and it doesn't seem to make it any easier to really deal with. I heard some discussion in the immediate aftermath. There was some discussion between some communities online just talking about how, not only how promising Sean O'Haire was, but the fact that, his career didn't really go the way that I don't think he really saw it, or the way anyone really saw it.
The problem that was had was they gave him too much too soon, if you will. When they had Roddy Piper as his manager and he was going up against Mr. America, as in Hulk Hogan. That was way too soon for that kind of thing. The character idea that they had come up with for him when he was doing the little vignettes, $1 million gimmick, just they took him too far too soon. Like, your first feud is against Mr. America, Hulk Hogan. What? I'd be freaked out too, and that led to not so great matches.
Yeah, that's really the worst part of it all, aside from the obvious, as far as his career went. I remember being so hyped up for Sean O'Haire after those initial vignettes aired, but to this day, I do not remember anything else. I don't remember any of his matches. I remember his music was awesome. I remember his promos were awesome. But I do not remember anything.
And that's pretty much the crux of his career. He had all the talent in the world. WWE just gave him too much too fast, and it just didn't work out. The matches that he had weren't really great, weren't really memorable, considering you don't remember any of them. And the only thing I remember him for were those awesome promos for the vignettes for him coming in after the whole invasion. Woof.
I'm going to go with debacle there, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, and just he had everything going for him it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it was a genuine shame, no matter how you slice it. No matter whether you loved him, hated him, or just found him completely neutral. You never like to see anyone go out like this, especially when it's in the wrestling industry and it just seems, again, there's too much unnecessary death.
And the guy was really young. He was only 43.
Yeah, suicide, something like that can really take down anybody. It's such a tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences, everything we've got, go out to the family of Sean O'Hare. You will be missed, Sean. Rest in peace, buddy.
Indeed.
All right, now let's get to the good stuff. Because for every bad thing that happened this week, there was something really good, too. Let's talk about Kenta.
Yes. Finally, we have confirmation.
Yeah, now they actually admitted that they're actually going to be changing his name to Hideo Itami.
Which is, But he's wrestling on NXT next week, and we don't know if he's actually wrestling, but he's gonna be there, whether he's got a crappy name or not.
Oh please, you gotta believe that he's gonna be wrestling, even if it's just like a 2-minute squash, just showing off what he can do. That's gotta happen. But out of all the names that they could have picked, Hideo Itami, I mean, granted, I can almost see what they were going for. Again, if you watched NXT, you said something about him paying tribute to one of his heroes. I had no idea that he was a fan of Metal Gear Solid.
Indeed. That's, are you going Hideo Kojima?
Do you know any other Hideos?
Yeah.
On the Titantron at NXT.
Kojima!
Yeah, seriously. If you notice, on the Titantron on NXT, the font they used for his name looked like a virtual ripoff of the font from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, I would laugh if that actually came out, and that's exactly what it was. A tribute to the maker of Metal Gear Solid.
You know what? I'll tell you what, I'm saying this as a fan of the Metal Gear Solid series. There's worse names.
There are.
It's just so weird. I keep wanting to call him. Instead of Kenta, I keep wanting to call him Hideo Kojima, and that's wrong.
That's
There's already a Kojima in wrestling. There's already a Hideo Kojima. Again, I'm with you. Certainly glad that Kenta's in the limelight right now.
But the name thing, dude.
That is going to take a lot to get used to. I mean,
it's the same thing when they brought in Jon Moxley. Dean Ambrose took a little bit to get used to when he was in NXT, and I was watching it. But look at where he's at right now. Same thing with Seth Rollins.
But then again,
Tyler Black.
Then again, they didn't come in as like, okay, yeah, we're hiring Jon Moxley and Tyler Black. They just showed up in FCW as Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
It's true.
On this show, I think there was just this one little fact that really threw me off. Regal comes out on NXT, introduces him as international superstar Kenta. He's hyped up as Kenta ever since they signed him. And now he's like, yeah, I'm Hideo Itami now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just a little disarming now. And from that very second on, the crowd is chanting Kenta, Kenta, Kenta. Even after he starts kicking the crap out of the Ascension on NXT TakeOver. And the crowd is still chanting Kenta, Kenta, Kenta. And the announcers are still going, wow, Hideo Itami, a brilliant debut.
Yeah,
I mean, factually this is true, but
the fans are not going to let go of Kenta so easily as the WWE might think.
True enough, but just when I was watching this for the first time, it just seemed really, really jarring. I don't know, I'm sure we're all going to get used to it like we have with all the other name changes. I know why they do it. I definitely do. But still, it's just weird. Weird. But on the good side of life, one little bit of backstage news. Triple H, on a recent phone interview with a bunch of media outlets, including Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer and a couple other places, mighty high praise for NXT. As I believe he went on to call NXT is not just isn't a developmental league anymore. It's more akin to college football as opposed to pro football.
And I like that, the way that he put that, because I'd say that developmental is like high school football.
Yes.
Like if you do that, but NXT is close enough to the big leagues where you get the crazy fans and all that. You get the crazy fans, you get the high production value still, and you get great wrestling.
Oh yes, it's
where just look at what we saw on Raw. Yes, I'm jumping ahead. But
it's okay. We're gonna be all over the place.
Look at what we saw on Raw. How many of those moves, like Adrian Neville, his finishing
the red
arrow, and how many of those moves would you see on a WWE Raw normally without NXT?
Never.
Exactly. Now you have NXT, and you're seeing that on Raw. So I'm like, NXT is quite possibly the best thing that could have happened to the WWE in the last couple of years, because Daniel Bryan came up through there.
Technically, yes.
No, I mean even before. Well, FCW.
Yeah. FCW. Actually, I thought you were talking about NXT, the first reality show.
No,
edition.
Screw that. Screw that noise.
The ridiculous one.
FCW/NXT.
That works.
Just like Daniel Bryan came up through it. You have all three of the Shield. Now look what they're at. Top of the company. Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family. And now you're going to have these four. The Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn,
Adrian
Neville, and
Natty's husband.
And Tyson Kidd. Yeah. Imagine he would have been released a long time ago
and
if
now
it wasn't for NXT.
And
now he's in the main event of NXT. I mean, NXT is the best thing that could have happened for the WWE in recent times, and I'll stand by that.
Oh yeah, no argument there. And you know what? While we're at it, let's talk about that match. This is a step that I never expected, but I am so glad that they did. Spotlighting NXT matches and NXT personalities before a big match, right on Raw, so people can see them for free without charging the $9.99 or whatever. For people who haven't seen NXT, this was exactly what we needed to see. Just the reactions to everyone alone. No one really knew everything about these guys, but as soon as they started going, everyone was all for it. It was like a quick little highlight reel giving everyone a taste, and it was just, it was so good. It was so well placed, and you know for a fact that they're going to do this stuff again.
Yeah.
It's got to happen.
The entire match, was done to build up, for the Neville hot tag. And when he got that tag and he came in, greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Greatness. The crowd loved it. Loved every minute of it. And I would not be surprised, now that they have had this showcase, to see all four of these guys up on the main roster very, very soon.
Well, as far as that, it's funny they bring that up, because not maybe 10 minutes before you showed up to record this episode, I actually read it again. This could be totally dirt sheets, but there is a report going on that people are in the back are high enough on Tyler Breeze that they're going to actually introduce him as a part of The Miz's entourage, thus setting up an initial feud between Tyler Breeze and The Miz.
Nice.
I would love to see that.
That would be great.
If for no other reason than give Tyler Breeze just a springboard just for him to do something, because I'm really on board the Prince Pretty train right now. And I never thought that sentence would escape my mouth.
And if you've seen his character, you'd actually see that he would fit in really well with the Miz's entourage. He would fit in really well because the Miz is conceited, Tyler Breeze is conceited. They're all kind of, it's all the Hollywood feel, And you get that with both of these guys. Put them together.
Yeah, and Tyler Breeze is definitely good. He just happens to look somewhat average as opposed when he's in the ring with guys like Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, and Natty's husband.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Again, even then, he's not bad. He's not bad at all. It's just that he's not known for the high-flying, flashy stuff. But, that's okay.
You gotta have balance in matches like those.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you get the critics all saying it was a bunch of flippy-floppy.
Yeah.
And they call them... Spot monkeys.
Spot monkeys.
Spot monkeys and spot fests. And the match doesn't get the kudos that it deserves. Now that you bring in the balance of the guy who doesn't really do the high-flying stuff and does all the mat work and all that, then you get a well-balanced match. And the critics like it, the fans love it, and everything comes together to make a great match.
And wrestling is amazing.
Yes. Something we can't always say.
Yeah. But we can say it right now, and you know what? I'm at the helm right now. Forget it. Let's talk about TakeOver, because this is amazing. Okay, reviewing. I know you haven't seen it yet, but you don't care about spoilers, so whatever. First off, we had the Tag Team Championship match. The now called Lucha Dragons, Sin Cara and Kalisto, versus the Ascension. The Ascension lost. We now have new NXT Tag Team Champions in Sin Cara and Kalisto.
So hold on. Does this mean that the Ascension is
getting called up? Personally, I haven't heard any confirmation, but I think that's what this means. This entire tournament already definitely showed off all these different new tag teams that they can work with in the NXT without the Ascension. The Ascension have already gone close to a year undefeated for their tag straps. It's my honest belief that that's what I think they're going to do with this. They're going to just call up the Ascension, do whatever with them, and then have Sin Cara and Kalisto stay in NXT, keep the place smelling nice and fresh, and moving on.
Now, do you believe that the Ascension jumps right into the tag team title picture? Immediately right in.
I'm imagining so, just because they're so aching for fresh blood in the mainstream WWE tag team title scene right now. Just for no other reason than just get the straps off the Usos. The Usos have had them for too long, and even without the whole Dust Brothers tag match turn heel thing. See, it's even in my voice. I'm just having a hard time caring about the tag division right now. And I hate saying that.
It's very true. We thought that the Usos would bring back the tag division, but it's I don't want to call it a burial, but with them beating the Wyatt family 3 times on pay-per-view, and if they beat the Rhodes brothers at Night of Champions, if that has been confirmed yet, if they beat them at Night of Champions, I don't know where they go from here. So you got to bring the Ascension up at that point.
Yeah, it's really going to depend, I think, on the climate of what we're talking about as far as the aftermath of Night of Champions. If that's probably going to be what's end up happening, which, let's face it, probably will, then, yeah, that would be the best time to bring up the Ascension. Bring them on. Alright, next up, we've got Bull Dempsey defeated Mojo Rawley in about, maybe a minute and like 5 seconds. I'm serious, that actually happened. I mean, granted, I wasn't really looking forward to this match as much anyway. I don't really like these guys much, but you know what? I will admit, Bull Dempsey looked like $1 million here. He looked like a genuine badass. And by the time the match was over, Mojo Rawley was actually legit bleeding. He was did 3 moves and then boom. 1, 2, 3, Bull Dempsey wins. The dude looked like a for someone who looks like Bull Dempsey does, this guy looked like a freaking wrecking ball. He was impressive. I got to admit, he was impressive.
So are they trying to bring him up to be the new NXT Rusev?
I wouldn't go that far. I think they're just trying to carve a niche for him, which they're going to have to do, especially considering that they've got Kevin Steen on the way.
Truth.
Because there actually were some. Can't speak today again. They actually have had some chants on NXT Takeover when he was out just chanting for Kevin Steen. Because from a bird's eye glance, they know that Kevin Steen just does everything. I was CJ Parker. I was looking ahead. He basically does a lot of things that Kevin Steen does, but not as quite as good. So they're using the old ECW rule of accentuate the positives and hide the negatives, which I give him a lot of credit for. If a guy's got promise, which I gotta admit Bull Dempsey does, that's the exact thing that they should be doing with him. And so far, I think it's succeeding. Any other thoughts on Bull Dempsey other than me trashing him a few weeks ago, saying he should be stuck in matches with Roman Reigns?
No, that was trashing Roman Reigns and just being like he's worse than.
Well, that was.
He's greener than Bull Dempsey.
To be fair, that was unfair to both men. I apologize to both these guys.
Hey, when a man's angry, you got to get it out.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm just not. We're gonna be here all night if we do. Anyway, since I brought it up, let's talk about the exciting match of CJ Parker versus Baron Corbin.
The way you said that doesn't make it sound so exciting.
It was not. I knew I had heard the name Baron Corbin before. Apparently he was on jobber duty for NXT a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really paid too much attention to him. And now, so what we get here is CJ Parker coming out like, oh, okay, whatever, CJ Parker. Like, hippie, okay, he's a hippie heel. That's different, I guess. Now you just see this big guy, Baron Corbin, with all this ink all over himself. I mean, looks imposing. Looks like a really Technicolor version of some guy from Sons of Anarchy, except really, really bored.
And he's not killing anyone, so that's not...
Yeah, he looked almost catatonic with the way he was just standing there. He looked so bored. He was just like, what am I doing here? My feet hurt. How much am I getting paid for this? I have a sandwich in the oven. What's going on? Who is this guy? I don't like hippies.
So he looks like Festus?
No, I wouldn't go that...
Festus when the ring bell doesn't get wrong?
Except without the mouth breathing. Let's put it that way.
Got you.
Shut mouth, he just looks... For such a big, imposing dude, he just looked really, really bored the entire time. And then the match happened, and he beat CJ Parker in 2 moves in 30 seconds.
Oh.
Total squash. He didn't even smirk when he won. He was just sort of like, okay, I'm going from absolute misery to pure neutrality at this point.
Yeah,
and he just gets out of the ring and leaves.
That was a perfect... Yeah, that happened. And then leave.
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, I'm guessing they were trying to build up like some sort of Goldberg push. But, again, when you watch this, you can see for yourself, but it was just... He didn't seem comfortable being there at all. Like, he walked away, ran off to the back, and someone in the back in production told him, oh, hey, you gotta go out and get, like, this final parting shot. So he just walked back out into the main NXT stage. He just looked at the ring, looking completely bored once again.
That just seems awkward.
It was awkward. It wasn't so much awkward, actually, as much as it was confusing. Like, okay, what... Is this guy supposed to be confused? Is he supposed to be a big confused guy? I mean, it makes no sense. It was just weird. It wasn't awkward. It was just weird.
At least you knew what was going on with Festus. You don't... If from what I understand, at least you knew, but this guy's just kind of...
It's like, hey, I'm a big guy with tattoos. I'm bored. I want to get more tattoos. Who's this hippie? I want a sandwich. Blah, blah, blue.
Hit 2 moves. Yeah, that happened. Walk away. Come back out. Just stare at the ring. I still need that sandwich. Go away to the back.
I'm going to catering. Leave me alone. It was, to be fair though, it was inoffensive. It was a good use of maybe 3 minutes. Again, I'll probably just end up showing it to you after the show. But in the meantime, let's go to someone who's actually interesting. Enzo Amore versus Sylvester Lefort, the French guy. In a hair versus hair match.
Hey, I remember the build-up to the story for this one.
Hey, say what you will, and I love Enzo Amore. The guy's fantastic. I love the guy. He's not like the best technical artist, but then again, he doesn't have to be. To me, he's in the same vein as Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. Sure, they're not like technical virtuosos, but then again, they do their jobs well, and they don't have to be. They don't have to fit into anyone's technical super spot monkey mode. And you know what? For what this was, again, it was brief enough, it was concise, it was inoffensive, and it was fun. It was wrestling. And later on, they actually ended up shaving the other guy's head, and no eyebrows at all.
And here comes the awkwardness back. No eyebrows, huh?
Hey, I don't know who that French guy is, but I gotta give him credit for wanting to willing to go on with just having his eyebrows shaved. Again, another clip I will show you once we get done with this episode. But it was, for regular wrestling gimmicks 101, I'm digging it. Especially just how Enzo Amore and Big Cass just sell everything. It's great. Now we get on to what they called, quote-unquote, one of 2 main events, which I found really encouraging. Charlotte beat Bayley to retain her women's title, which, as you saw, in a really, really good match, as I think we all expected.
Yes, it's great what you can see when you don't have the WWE booking behind a Divas match or anything like that, because this, in the time that I was able to see it, this was glorious compared to anything that we've seen in the WWE recently. Yeah, I'm also talking about AJ and Paige, because that gets 5 minutes on a pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view before that was a pretty big stink fest. But these NXT women, they just keep putting on a show every time they go out there. I haven't seen, in all the shows and all the matches that you've shown me, I have not seen a bad one yet.
Oh yeah, NXT, they just gold after gold after gold. And if that wasn't good enough, of course, as you also saw, there was a little brief interlude with Sasha Banks at the end. Which is very nice.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
And Jeff's eyes light up.
Yes.
Whenever the name of Sasha Banks is mentioned.
Sasha, be thy name. Love you.
Sasha, keep being ratchet.
Or not. Sasha's no ratchet. And the crowd knows it. Gotta love it. Again, too bad about Bayley not winning the title, but you know what? I can sort of see where they're going with this. Charlotte getting a little more respect for Bayley. The feud continues. Good stuff. Possibly bring our girl Sasha back into the mix.
And then you have a triple threat, and everyone's happy.
Especially me.
I'm not too far behind.
You're darn right you're not. Yeah. It's talking about being happy. Other main event, the Fatal 4-Way. And I know you haven't even seen the full thing yet. This was, let's put it this way, it absolutely 100% lived up to the hype. Nice. It really, truly did. Of course, I will say this though, Adrian Neville did retain, but there was a couple caveats with Adrian Neville actually pulling out the referee when Sami Zayn went for the pin and it looked like he was going to win.
As it would normally happen.
Yes. Which led people to think, wait, is Adrian Neville turning heel? Is this going to set up for another feud between Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, possibly for the title? Don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll see next month. Maybe we'll see at the next TakeOver. Whatever else they decide to do. But in the meantime, this match was fantastic. And if you're listening to this and you have not ordered the network just for NXT or whatever else, then you are stupid. You are stupid and you need to shut this video off right now. Go buy the network, watch the pay-per-view, watch the match, and then come back. Go ahead, I'll wait.
So you calling me stupid?
No, I'm saying you don't have any money in your budget.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Plus, you're within striking distance of me, and you could probably kick my ass, and I don't want to upset you, dear.
Sounds good to me.
I'm saying that, I'm talking to the lot of wrestling fans who are just too cheap to have the money, but are too cheap to do anything else. Because I know that's what I would do at one point in my life.
Yes, when I actually have the funds, the first thing on my list, second thing on my list is to buy the network.
Either way, if you got it, please go get it. It's worth it for stuff like this and just to support this stuff. I mean, I could spend an entire episode just gushing on NXT. But I will not. I will spare the time. Let's just dive right into Monday Night Raw, shall we?
Why not?
It's really the only thing other that we've got left. We've got something great to kick off this week's Raw, and I'm really glad they did this. Bray Wyatt beating Chris Jericho in a cage match right out of the gate.
Yes, this was very good. It never got to the point where it felt like a really special match. You know what I mean? But there was that great spot with Jericho on top. The dude's 43. Okay.
He didn't act like it.
And he's doing crazy crap like cross-bodying Bray Wyatt from the top of the steel cage with the Devil May Care shrug.
I love that shrug. I didn't catch
it. Actually didn't end up being a crossbody. It ended up being more like a flying forearm when you look at it right away, because all that hit Bray Wyatt's face and body was the forearm. But
oh yeah, that's.
But still, even if it's not a crossbody and it's still a flying forearm, that's a pretty badass flying forearm. It was, and the way that Bray Wyatt won, just beating down Jericho as Jericho's trying to get out of the cage and then stepping out over the top of him, that is exactly what needed to happen. Okay, Bray Wyatt isn't out of the woods yet from the complete burial a couple weeks ago, but the way that this match ended and the post-match beatdown afterwards, he's coming out of it. And according to the rumors that he's going into an Intercontinental title feud after this with Dolph Ziggler, this could get good.
Yeah, this entire match, the one feeling I got from it was it almost seemed like an apology for the past couple weeks. Like, someone in WWE knew what they did, so they gave Bray Wyatt the entire, hometown here, we're here, full entrance with the Wyatts and all that. What got him over in the first place? Clean victory as far as cage matches go. Over Chris Jericho. Made him look like $1 million. However, just the way that if the rumors are true that they're going to put him in an Intercontinental title feud with Dolph Ziggler, I'm honestly not sure how to think about that.
I like that he's finally going after a title. It might not be the one that I want him to go for, but
exactly.
But it's not. He's not at that point yet. It's the same thing. Okay, John Cena broke the momentum. You can't have a guy just get decimated by John Cena and then immediately throw him into a World Heavyweight title match. I actually think that right now, in order to build him up back to where he was before the John Cena feud, give him a couple months with the Intercontinental title. I'd be like, and that would be fine with me. And maybe, just maybe, okay, that is when they start bringing prestige back to the Intercontinental title, when Bray Wyatt has it.
That is a good point. Originally, I saw it just the other way around. I thought of how much momentum Bray Wyatt had when he first came in. I thought that him going for a mid-card title like the Intercontinental title, I originally thought that would be a step back, like they were almost demoting Bray Wyatt. But I honestly didn't even think of that. Yeah. That Bray Wyatt would actually be the one to help elevate the title more and make the Intercontinental title more engaging.
And it's also the problem that happened 2 weeks ago when John Cena just decimated the Wyatt family and made them look like mid-carders. So now people think that Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family are mid-carders. So why not go for a mid-card title? Mm-hmm. And in that case, give Bray Wyatt the Intercontinental title. Finally, give the Wyatt family some gold, and maybe we can get some prestige back in the Intercontinental title, because you know that Bray Wyatt is not going to go into an Intercontinental title match without a storyline.
Oh yeah, this
could work.
Yeah, I gotta admit, after the way you put it that way, makes me feel a lot more confident about what Bray Wyatt can do with the Intercontinental title. Because with what we saw out of The Miz and Dolph Ziggler during this past week, this was
I actually thought that you see these segments all the time where the people come up with pictures and they're supposed to be funny, but they're not. But I gotta admit, okay, with this one, I got a couple laughs out of it.
Really?
It finally worked for me. Especially the last picture. I gotta admit, I sometimes when you don't expect something, okay, and that's what pops up on the screen, I can't help myself and I actually started gut busting laughing when the picture came up of The Miz getting spray tanned by Damien Sandow. I will admit it. I did not hate this segment. And now, okay, no matter how stupid it is, okay, now there's a reason. Now there's a story going into this Intercontinental title match. Whether it's a stupid one or not, we got one. And I must admit, I see the face you're giving me right now, but I did not enjoy it, but I did not hate it.
I guess that's a little bit more fair, but still, this was just it didn't work for me.
It wasn't AJ Vicky levels of bad. Okay, that's it.
A lot of things aren't. A lot of things are not.
And anything John Cena does with pictures. This was on top of that.
Yeah, at least it was two guys that I kind of like. This is just a really weird way to continue this. I am neutral. Anyway, moving on. Next up we have Paige and AJ beating Natalya and Rosa Mendez. This is
boring.
Yeah, it was pretty much what I expected, except for the result. I was expecting this to be, Paige and AJ can't work together, and they end up losing to Natalya and Rosa Mendez, which, when this match was first announced, that's what I was afraid that they were going to do, but they still kept the attention where it needed to be focused on, which was a good thing. So, yeah, no pain there, I guess.
Yeah, it was boring match.
Care.
It was a boring match, all about the story. Which, hey, guess what? We haven't really cared about since the SummerSlam match. Okay, and what are they trying to do with Rosa Mendes? Okay,
I'm still trying to figure that out.
She had an opportunity to tag out, and she didn't do it. All right, are they doing a storyline with Rosa Mendes? She's been in the company for 8 years. Okay, 8 years. Okay, she still doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess being on Raw lowers your intelligence.
She's been managing tag teams. You don't know what to do in a tag match? It was a boring match that turned really stupid, and that's what you get in a Divas match that isn't on NXT.
WWE, please, just knowing how much of a success NXT is right now, just take some notes, okay? I can't. I can't.
It's a really simple thing, okay? The NXT writers aren't doing anything revolutionary with these females, okay? They're just doing basic storylines, and guess what? It's working because you actually give them time and actually give trained wrestlers the positions in which to make your matches better. In this match, okay, AJ Page and Natalya can only do so much. Okay, you get someone like Rosa Mendes in there, and what the hell, dude?
I instantly stop caring. That's what happens. But in the meantime, while WWE seems to slowly be getting their act together, next up we had a surprisingly decent Cena-Paul Heyman segment.
Yeah. It was really long though.
Yeah, that's
they did the 20-minute back in the day, like the Evolution promos at the beginning of the show. There was always a 20-minute Triple H promo every week.
I remember those days.
And that was coming back with all the promos leading in. And what they did was swerve us, okay? Because they waited till 9 o'clock. They waited till an hour in to have the 20-minute promo. And
oh dear.
Okay, so, but it's all good because John Cena is in serious mode, and when he's in serious mode, he cuts amazing promos.
And he was in the ring with Paul Heyman.
And he's in the ring with Paul Heyman, who can really do almost no wrong, except for when
he does wrong.
The one thing I said last week, okay, was you need to get new material, okay? Because you've been saying the same exact thing for the last 3 weeks. You're getting on CM Punk versus Chris Jericho levels. Back when they were doing the feud with the drinking and all that, and and CM Punk cut the same exact promo twice in 2 weeks. Paul Heyman was getting to that point. Now, okay, this was great.
Yeah, this
was 20 minutes of greatness. And John Cena, okay, I give props. The guy can bring it when he has to, and when he's in the ring with other people that can lift him up, okay. But with the comedy and all of that, and with the people that that WWE creative and he deems lower than him, okay. Out comes the comedy. Out comes Bonehead Cena, which we hate.
Mm-hmm.
But this right here was 20 minutes of gold.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it not only that it went off as well as it did, but I could tell what it was right away. I think we all already know what we're going to get out of Cena Lesnar 2 or Cena Lesnar 3, depending on how you look at it. It's going to take a lot to sell people on this match once again, but at the same time, I understand why they did it this way. They needed 2 talented talkers to go out and try and sell the crap out of this match, keep people hyped and have people stay hyped without the involvement of Mojo Rawley.
We'll be back next week.
Oh, please. This segment was fine for how it is. It was very good, and they did the best they could with what they had. I think we all still know what we're going to get out of Night of Champions.
I really hope so.
Yeah, and then they're just going to move on to something else. But you know what? In the meantime, they're doing their damnedest, and they're all doing their jobs. I got to give them all credit for that. Speaking of giving credit, let's spend a moment and talk about Seth Rollins versus Sheamus. This match was what I expected out of any Raw. A good, solid match from both these men. It was just it was good. I don't want to say it's really, really good, but it was certainly good by Monday Night Raw standards. It's the kind of match I expect out of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, and it's Seth Rollins and Sheamus, so it would have been nice if the match got more time, but it was more to set up the Sheamus-Cesaro United States title match, and Seth Rollins took advantage of an opportunity, as any good heel would do. I hope that in the future, we'll see more of this match, and it was solid. It was a solid Monday Night Raw match.
Now, I got nothing more to say about that. Yeah, it's guys I like doing wrestling that I like.
And a champion losing a non-title match is really nothing new at this point.
But they are keeping. Thankfully, if they're doing one thing right, they're definitely keeping Seth Rollins' momentum strong.
Oh yeah,
which they should for any Money in the Bank title holder. He's in good shape,
especially since he's probably facing Roman Reigns at Night of Champions.
Oh yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be a good continuation of the internal Shield feud. Personally, I'm digging it. I can't wait to see more. One thing I can't wait to see is what we saw next.
Lana.
Nah, not Lana. I'm talking more about the Jerry Springer Bellas segment. I can't believe I actually sat through this thing. I'm not sure what I was expecting other than what we got. What I didn't expect was what happened when Jerry Springer injured his ankle.
Yeah. I gotta say,
oh man.
Alright, I gotta say, the brawl itself was actually pretty good. The brawl itself, it was everything leading up to the brawl that basically is pretty much the same as the last month or so that this has been going on. And this is really the only thing I have to say about it, as the same thing that I've said in the last couple weeks. Ugh! Stop it! Stop pushing this down our throats!
Jerry Springer does not make this interesting, and as a matter of fact, he just made this entire segment look embarrassing. He gets hurt, everyone acts awkward around Jerry Springer, and when he's getting carted off, Jerry Springer just throws up a thumbs up 500 times in a row, just trying to get a pop.
What is this,
which
football?
Never comes.
Only football players can do that and actually get a pop. Okay.
This was so weird. I know what they were trying to do, but still, it did not take at all.
It was so bad, except for the brawl. The brawl in my mind was actually, it wasn't bad. Okay, it was the acting, and it all goes back to the acting. When they're actually fighting each other, it's okay. Because there's no talking, it's just them going, ah! And grabbing hair and all that.
That to me isn't even entertaining. It's just still so boring. It's, ugh.
But in order to get to that, you have to wade through the 15 minutes of crap before it.
Oh, brother.
And what WWE fan wants to actually sit through this? Tell me. I want to know.
When I find out, I'll let you know. But other than that, I just can't wait for this match to happen at Night of Champions just so I can end. Or just get not even at Night of Champions, because it's going to be a triple threat. Just end this feud. I don't know a single person who is actually pleased with this. And for that matter, I really don't know anyone who's really 100% pleased with this next upcoming feud. Goldust and Stardust first defeated the Matadors, and
I can tell you who's pleased. Or Scholar Tarek. Tarek. What am I doing?
Are them embellishing his name? Tarek. Yeah, I think it was, at the time, just looking back, I think it was just the immediate aftermath of the whole Jerry Springer debacle that made me really disinterested in Raw at this point. Because I'm sure that both these guys, everyone involved, they put on something perfectly serviceable. I can practically guarantee it. But, geez, you want to talk about a momentum killer with the Bellas and Jerry Springer?
Brought the show to a halt.
Not care. Yeah.
This in itself, it was just a short match to put over the challengers, and then the Usos got some of their own back after the match with the attack, and so the Usos are ready to go. Stardust and Goldust are ready to go. I really don't need any more build.
Yeah, we know we're
for this feud. We know that it's coming at Night of Champions, and yeah, this was the definition of something that was just there. Really,
they were
in a very difficult spot right there.
It was filling time, which you do what you gotta do, but at the same time, there's only so much overselling you can do. Speaking of overselling, even though these guys don't really oversell much, Adam Rose beat Titus O'Neil, but come on. Who is the bunny? What's the story with the bunny?
Every time we talk about the bunny, I feel dumber because I'm talking about a bunny who's beating the crap out of Heath Slater every time.
Well, to be fair, this would go to Titus O'Neil, but either way.
Either or. It's just, remember when Titus O'Neil turned on Darren Young and we were like, big things could be happening for Titus O'Neil.
And
No. You're gonna get beat up by a bunny.
Enjoy your day.
Let's move on.
The one thing that is remotely of note here, I'm not sure if you saw the poll that went up on the .com the next day. They said, who is in the bunny suit? The leading vote on that poll, Zack Ryder.
You know what? I would not be surprised at this point.
I don't want to be surprised at this point. I really do not. If it turns out, oh yeah, the bunny is actually Zack Ryder, woo, that would be absolutely fantastic, and I would love to see him in that role, if for no other reason, just get thrust back into some sort of spotlight again. A favorable spotlight.
See, but here's the problem, okay? The spotlight in this would be he's facing off against Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil. Not much of a spotlight there.
Hey, put him in a tag, better than Jobber.
Put him in a tag team with Adam Rose and let's do this.
I'd be game. The Broski Bunny. There you go.
Well, think about it, okay? They're both partiers. Okay? The Woo 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 and Adam Rose. Hey.
I actually want to see this now. We're maybe that originally started as a joke, but I actually want to see that now.
Woo Woo Woo. Hey.
Woo Woo Woo. B11. No.
The Broski Bunny.
The Broski Bunny. Hashtag Broski Bunny. Get it trending, people. But in the meantime, let's talk about people nearly dying. Let's talk about the main event for that night. Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. I was sort of zoning out at this point. I was sort of getting tired.
Doesn't help that it was very slow paced.
Yeah.
Woof.
And then towards the end, did you see this? It looked like Seth Rollins was trying to run into the ring. Someone was trying to bring the cage down, and for some reason the cage this time had all these crazy reinforcement spikes on the sides. Did you see those?
That's no, I didn't. But that's also
Someone caught it, and I just saw the GIF of it. Seth Rollins tries to run in as the cage is lowering, and I don't think he or anyone else saw these big metal spikes on the bottom of the cage. Seth Rollins came within an inch of being impaled by these big metal spikes on the cage as it was coming down. And
that would have been no good for anybody.
You see Seth Rollins again. I'll see if I can dig it up and post it a little later. But all you see is Seth Rollins trying to run to the ring, just trying to climb into the ring. He feels something touch his back, a big metal spike just touches back. He immediately ducks down and peels out of the ring and finds another way in. It's legitimately scary. Geez, he came within inches of painful death.
Yeah,
it seemed like it was horrible.
The match itself was bleh. It was. I can actually say this. It was clothesline after clothesline after clothesline after clothesline. And this shows exactly what you were talking about when you said that Roman Reigns was green. Because his moveset is basically clothesline, clothesline, clothesline. Let's throw some punches here and there. Another clothesline. That's it. But the beatdown afterwards, okay, that was a nice little old school beatdown, and I love me some old school beatdowns. So the match leading up, you notice whenever there's a story after the match, there's going to be a beatdown, the match isn't as good as it could be because they're just waiting for it. So they're like, okay, throw a clothesline here. We'll do this really slow paced and whatever. And the match wasn't bad. It was just boring. You know what I mean?
So it was bad.
I want to give them credit because it was nothing was botched. Nothing was misplaced. It was just there were just too many clotheslines, and this just shows that Roman Reigns still needs some work, which is what we've said in the past. But the beatdown at the end, okay, brought this segment up in my eyes because I love me some old school beatdowns. No matter what, and the way it ended with Roman Reigns down, holy crap, we have some vulnerability. Finally! It's been so long.
As far as Roman Reigns goes, I thought the execution here was just fine. They built up the feud, sure. They made Roman Reigns look vulnerable, and he's not being pushed to the absolute moon like a lot of us were fearing. And let's face it, his flaws are not ignorable anymore. I think everyone else really does know that. Ah, yes, you dug up the gif of Seth Rollins nearly dying.
Yes.
Yes. Now you see what.
Now I see. Died. Wow.
Yeah. So, how much you want to bet someone actually got fired or severely disciplined for that little?
I really hope so, man.
What I really want to know is, again, this is going to be my last thought. Why on earth would they need those spikes? Reinforcement.
That's what I want to know, because once those spikes go into the ground, okay, how are you going to get it back up? It's got to be stuck in the damn ground.
Yeah, I saw sheaths on the edges of the ring. So almost.
What are they afraid that it's gonna? They were afraid that Bray Wyatt was gonna do one of his body dives into it, and it was just gonna break.
Bray Wyatt is not that huge as opposed to some of the other guys that they put in that cage.
That's the only thing I can think of for why they'd need reinforced spikes in the.
You know what? At this point, your guess is as good as mine. And you know what? We already know that's our Raw. Everyone listening to this show right now, if you've got some sort of idea as far as why the WWE would put in those spikes to nearly kill Seth Rollins, or to reinforce their cages, or why they're doing any of this, please comment, let us know. Before we close out, what would you rate this Raw?
Because it was so much better than the last 2 weeks, I will give it Classic OT.
Really?
I will go and I will give it a 3 out of 5. I will give it a Classic OT. There was nothing stupendous. I refuse to give her off a goat face. I almost never will do it, except for the one last year, the Raw after WrestleMania. That was goat face all over the place.
That's fair.
Goats were out of the barn.
The goats were out of the barn.
But other than that, there's too much filler on a Raw for me to be able to give it a complete goat face. But this was good. But with that Jerry Springer segment, man, I don't feel right giving it a full beard. So because that in my mind is almost a perfect Raw, would be a full beard for me. So I'm gonna go with a Classic OT. The only thing that was tragically bad was the Jerry Springer segment, but we pretty much knew that was going to be bad when we first heard of it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the other Divas match wasn't that great. And other than that, nothing was really that bad. So I feel perfectly confident in giving it a Classic OT.
I do not. I'll tell you what, with the exception of a few shining moments of brilliance between, the Bray Wyatt match and the NXT preview match, everything else just seems sort of boring to average to me. There really wasn't too much to say about this Raw. I'm not sure if I was just burnt out at the time, but it really didn't have the same sort of luster that the average Monday Night Raw really had in my eyes. In that case, I'm going to have to go with a 2 out of 5 Peach Fuzz. It was just blarg to me. Didn't really do much for me. I'm sure next week will be perfectly fine. But other than that...
Am I taking the moniker of Captain Optimism this week?
This week, yes.
Yeah.
You're not getting the title permanently, you're just holding on to it. And in the meantime, just to close out on a good note, NXT TakeOver, full-on goat face. If you're listening to this, watch TakeOver. Best wrestling you're going to find just pound for pound anywhere. And if you haven't watched it yet, or if you haven't watched it, watch it again. It's great. Watch it. It's gold. 5 out of 5 goat face. And you're probably thinking, hey, I disagree with you. The Monday Night Raw wasn't that bad. NXT TakeOver was not that great. I'm a stupid moron who hates good things. Whatever. You disagree with us in some way, comment on this video, let us know how wrong we are or how right we are. Like us, follow us if you like this episode and you want to hear more. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us everywhere the wind blows. Woo.
La blur, 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 la blur.
Brilliantly said, brilliantly said. I think we're out of things to say, so let's take it home. You heard us speak. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled.
You're welcome.
Have a great night. Now I'm going to go watch NXT again.
Blood!